Hello?
Hello and welcome to How to Get Started with Marketing Automation. This is a U webinar designed to help you with understanding what are easy strategies, popular tools, and doable processes when it comes to marketing automation. My name is Marguerite Ensko, and I am one of the hosts in this 45-minute session. I have the pleasure to lead an agency called relaunchyou. And it's a business-to-business inbound marketing agency, and we focus on helping companies generate and nurture leads through their website. And I've been called the inbound marketing ninja, and the name is kind of stuck. So this is what one of my favorite clients calls me, so I thought that works really well. But I'm not the only one here today to share with you on this webinar. I also have a good friend and partner, Victor Clark, who's going to share a little bit about where he comes from and how we work together.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Glad you're here. Thank you, Marguerite. Yeah, as Marguerite said, we work together a lot, both Clark Inc. and relaunchyou. We're partners, we're customers, we're suppliers to each other, and I think we have a good synergy going on. I am the owner of Clark Incorporated, and I'm your marketing quarterback for the managing the creation, distribution of inbound and outbound marketing. And if the terms inbound and outbound marketing are a little foreign, outbound defines the good old-fashioned way we're all familiar with direct mail, TV, radio, those sorts of things. But also combined with inbound marketing, which is email blast, websites, apps, those sorts of things. And Marguerite and I work very well together, combining both our expertise in the inbound and outbound marketing. She is very good at explaining, understanding things, putting concepts together, and I seem to be able to bring it down to a level with some language that helps people understand it maybe a little bit better. So Marguerite and I have a good relationship with each other. So Marguerite, you are up.
Stuff done over there. Just whenever I need to get website stuff done, Clark Incorporated is my go-to place. So that's not the only thing, but that's a big part. So the plan for today, what are we going to talk about here?
We want to talk about what do we want to accomplish with automation, and we'll talk a little bit about the definition of what is marketing automation. We'll talk about the relationship between integration and automation to make good things happen in your business. We'll talk about the buyer's journey as it compares to your automation strategy and how you can keep one step ahead of them. And then in the end, we're going to list some popular automation tools and details to keep in mind. And most importantly, you should have a worksheet that Marguerite sent to you. So make sure you pull that out, because we are going to be using that as we get on towards the end of the presentation.
Yeah, that worksheet's going to help you a whole lot with sort of rating your current system and what you like and what you want to improve, and you can document any questions you have or tools that you want to, go check out a little bit more online. So why marketing automation? Why do we need to do it at all in the first place? Which, you know what, I'm going to let Victor build on this, but I just want to start off by saying now I recently read this report, industry report about marketing automation, and it has just gone through the roof in terms of tools and money spent on marketing automation in the last 2 years. I mean, more than all the previous years combined. These last 2 years have really, you see this graph, just like here in this picture, is really shot up. It is hot. People are doing it today, and they're doing it for a really great reason, which is economy of scale.
Right, and we put up 3 bullet points there, and what 3 better reasons could you have than these 3? Save time and effort, reach more people, and increase your sales. Marketing automation solves a lot of the sales prospecting inefficiencies. In the good old days when I was a young buck starting out in the early 80s selling, we were told we were cold calling, telemarketing calling, just going knocking on doors. We were told it's a numbers game. Make 100 calls a day, you'll get 10 appointments, and you'll get 1 sale. And yeah, that pretty much held true. But man, wouldn't you like to be a lot more effective and efficient if you could make more targeted and specific calls to a warm prospect who knows you, expects you, understands your product versus just calling somebody flat cold. And that's the point of marketing automation. In a couple definitions, marketing automation is more data-based, B-A-S-E-D with a D on the end, selling, data-based selling versus database selling. Database selling is kind of the old days, back when I was told to make 100 calls, get 10 appointments, make 1 sale. That's looking at your database and just knocking on doors and dialing for dollars. Versus using data-based selling, you're leveraging 2 important trends that are happening today. One is self-educating buyers. The internet makes it easy to find pretty much out anything about anybody, anytime, anywhere you want to know. What do you do when you want to find something? Most people Google it. So one of those trends is self-educating buyers. The other trend is creating the use of interest to create what's called the propinquity effect. So write that word down, propinquity. As we get a little further into it, I'll give you the definition of propinquity. So marketing automation is more data-based selling versus the old-fashioned database selling. Marguerite?
I love the definition between the two. That's great. It costs, with automation, you can lower your cost of client acquisition because instead of paying a person, you have to pay them a decent living wage, right, to make all those phone calls. You can instead do it effectively through digital means, and that's how you grow and manage your costs while you're still growing. So the big question that you have to ask yourself is, which race do you want to run? Okay, because there's all different levels of automation. I think this is where people get a little overwhelmed because they're not really sure where to start, where to prioritize the automated pieces. There's just so many solutions out there. There's all-in-one solutions. There's pieces that you can improve throughout your whole marketing system. We're going to look at that. So the biggest question to ask yourself is, which race do you want to run? Not just the one that you're in, because I'm pretty sure the race that you're in, the one with competitors that are maybe equal size and product and market share, maybe you want to lead the pack there, or maybe there's a whole other, race that you want to get involved in. Is it just a foot race where you're going to pull a bunch of guys together that's pretty quick? You're not going to go too fast, but that's not hard to pull together. Are we doing more sophisticated engineering, more sophisticated tools? And so you really have to know which game you want to play in your industry and who your biggest competitors are. And remember, no one gets in a race unless they plan to win it, right? So don't pick a race that you don't plan to win is the idea. And sometimes some businesses, they decide they're going to they're going to evolve into the next type of race, after a number of years. So what do we want to do in a, long-term perspective too? And are there things that we should keep in mind that we want to accomplish in the next year versus the next 5 years? So that is where you need to start thinking, which race am I in? And then we also have to keep in mind a little bit of a disclaimer here about what automation is not. I think since you did a good introduction there, Victor, why don't you go ahead and...
Okay. Yeah, regardless of which race you want to run, which marketing automation system you want to use, I will throw out a word of warning that you still need a human being to close the deal. You still need contact from a person to reach out. Marketing automation is improving the effective and efficiency of your prospecting and creating qualified leads faster and not spending your time cold calling in the dark. But when you get a prospect to the point that you think they may convert to a customer, you're going to most likely 99% of the time have to have a human being follow up with them. So what else does marketing automation does and does not do? Well, it doesn't. Marketing automation does not set your goals and objectives. It doesn't generate your marketing strategy, and it does not produce your creative content. But it does offer lots of ways to more quickly and easily reach out to customers and have them self-qualify by sending buying signals to you in particular products or services you may offer that they're interested in. And there's lots of free and dirt cheap, low-cost monitoring apps beyond Google that you can go out there and use that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the presentation to monitor what your prospects and suspects are doing out there.
Yeah, if you don't have goals and objectives for your marketing, if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a content production system, or at least people or talent, or something in place, really automation is not going to work for you. You have to have these decided ahead of time to really understand which automation system you want to employ. Now, speaking of automation, there is another word that's really critical to add to this piece, and it's integration. So you can't have automation without integration. The difference between the two, automation is replacing a manual activity with a machine, and what we're doing here is a digital or electronic process. So when we're thinking about manual activities, I'm talking about things like sorting, prioritizing, researching, updating, sending, recording, notifying, reporting, personalizing, transferring. All this stuff can be done by a person, but it can also be done by electronically via software or some sort of coding. But it has to be, when it comes to large numbers and large amounts of data, it has to be electronic because there's a certain limit to what a person can do. They can only handle so much. Now, integration has to do with tying systems together. So we've got multiple systems that are operating, and we want to make sure that they share information correctly. And some things to think about with integration is bilateral syncing or unilateral syncing. And bilateral means, are they sharing data both ways? Or unilateral means, is it just going from one system to the other but not backwards? And then how much control do you have over that data? You'll hear the term seamless integration a whole lot with different online cloud systems and also with software. Seamless integration means that it's so natural. It's so, there's a little extra noise over there. I don't know if that, if you're moving around, just keep your phone on mute. Okay, I think we're good now. Going back to seamless integration, if it just feels like it's naturally part of the system, it's not clunky to use. Now, I find that this is typical with cloud-based systems because those are all online coding that can be switched around and improved very quickly and easily on the back end of that content management system. Whereas if you work with a lot of software programs, you typically have to buy add-ons for integration, and add-ons are a little bit more clunky because they can't change the software that's already in your computer. They just have to make it work with your software. So I'm a big fan of the cloud. You're going to see that in the tools that we have to share here. Something that I can show here is a simple integration example. This is between cloud-based and soft-based, are these calendars. You'll see the one here in the back, and I know you can't really read it very well, but don't worry about that. You don't have to be able to read it. The one in the back has got multiple colors you can see for each of the days of the week. This is a Google Calendar. I'm sure you already recognize it. And you probably know that you can turn on and off these different calendars that I have layered over top of each other. This purple is tasks and appointments from my project management system, Teamwork, that I use. And so Teamwork has its own event calendar for the entire team, but each of its team members can simply integrate it into our own Google Calendar, and now I can see it all in comparison to my other activities. Now, Teamwork also integrates with Outlook, and I'm sure a lot of you are using this system instead. Now, Microsoft Outlook is a software program, and you can see when I add an external calendar, it creates an actual separate calendar image. So now I've got two of them here side by side. They're not layered on top of each other. Now, if I had to choose between which of these two calendars I'd want to work with, obviously I'd want to work with the layered one because it's not as confusing to the eye. And I know, too, that my Google Calendar is a lot more effective for mobile use on my phone or on my tablet. It's very easy for me to connect with this. And there's not a lot of clunkiness or special tech knowledge that's necessary to do that. Now, we could also look at a database integration, for example, with a CRM. This is Salesforce. If you use that, I'm sure you recognize it. And here you can see under activity history, I have got information integrated in from a tool called HubSpot, which is an inbound marketing tool. And it says with this lead information, like when they opened an email I sent to them, when they submitted a form on a landing page that I have. This is really great intelligence for me as a salesperson to, when I want to reach out to that lead or when I want to know when it's time to reach out to that lead based on their behavior in terms of interaction with the marketing content that we're putting out there. Now, I could have done this also with MailChimp, but MailChimp doesn't supply that level of integration. It doesn't have that much data as HubSpot does. So it depends on how much I want to support my sales team. And one last quick example here is CRM integration within email. With this tool, I have, this is my Gmail account. I can check this box in a message, and it will log this message in my CRM with that particular prospect or opportunity. Now, this is with a HubSpot CRM. They had this integration tool. If it's through Outlook, it's an add-on. It's a little clunkier, but it's available. So these are some things to think about, how the level of quality of integration, how likely people are going to use it consistently. These are all big things to consider. All right, you know what? I talked a little bit about those two things. There's one other element that's pretty important that Victor's going to share with us to make sure that you're ready for marketing automation.
Let's start with a quote. Woody Allen, and I'm paraphrasing here, once said that 80% of your success in life is just on showing up. So we're going to start going into some systems, processes, some apps to allow you to begin to show up on a regular basis, on purpose, in front of your suspects and prospects. Integrating your marketing automation allows more chances for your clients, for you to appear on your client's radar screen. And that begins to create what we call propinquity. Propinquity, there's that Scrabble 100-point word for you, and I'll read you the definition of propinquity. The law of propinquity states that the greater the physical proximity is between people, the greater chance that they will form relationships. And this theory was first crafted by psychologists in what was called the Westgate studies conducted at MIT. And basically what it means is if you just kind of stay in contact on a regular basis and just keep showing up with your suspects and prospects, they will begin to remember you so that when they are ready to make that purchase, they're going to remember you. You don't need to be there all the time, but you just need to show up when they're ready to make that buying decision. And by using marketing automation rather than manual tools of you having to go in individually and send emails or remember, and I remember the old days of tickler files when I had a hanging file cabinet in the trunk of my car with brochures. Those days are gone. Marketing automation solves all that and remembers to send emails and reminds you to make phone calls and those sorts of things. But before we jump in to these marketing tools that can create propinquity, it's important to understand that marketing automation can only be successfully established on solid workplace systems. Things that you want to coordinate and share with your vendors and staff on site, maybe they're telecommuting. Your systems have to accommodate all of these people and situations. So you're going to need things like file sharing, whether it's cloud-based or not cloud-based. There's things like Google Docs, Dropbox, File Share, etc. Content management systems where you can track the content you've produced, style guides, personas of your customers. Other software such as Microsoft Office, Mac software, Google Docs. Marguerite is a big fan, and I think she'll speak a little bit about Microsoft Office 365. Calendars like she showed you, and task management like Outlook, Basecamp, those sorts of things. And really, a lot of the software is moving more and more to cloud-based rather than residing on your local computer. Correct, Marguerite?
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of companies, small to enterprise size, they're going with all of the Google Business apps, or they're moving to Office 360 because everybody needs to be using the same stuff so we can communicate on the same level and we can ensure security in the information that we're sharing too. So this is just saying, you know, it's going to be really hard to automate your marketing if you have a really hard time communicating and strategizing and creating your marketing content to automate. So now let's actually talk about marketing. You know, usually when we talk about marketing, we think about lead generation, right? Getting new business in the door. I just need leads, and then we can close them with our sales team. Well, there's also lead nurturing, because we know that we want to automate not just the generation, but often a lot of the nurturing. So we're keeping the hottest leads, the most likely to have the greatest opportunities. Those are the ones that we want to have conversations, that our salespeople have conversations with. But, you know, we also, in our marketing, want to increase the lifetime value of customers. We want to sell more of our high profit margin items, and we want to diversify our client portfolio if that's necessary. But most companies are very focused on trying to do more business in a certain sector or industry, a certain type of client with a certain size contract. So all of these play a role. Now, in today's webinar here, we're just going to focus mostly on lead generation and lead nurturing, since that is the biggest component. But just understand that your automation really should cover all of these areas or help you perform well in all of these areas. Did you have anything to add, Victor?
Yeah, I know we're going to talk more so lead generation and lead nurturing, but I still like to touch on how you can continue to increase the lifetime value of your customers, to continue to delight them so that they remember to continue to purchase from you. There was a cartoon I saw the other day about two people standing there. A guy looked very disappointed, and his comment was, "They used to treat me so well," and his friend's reply was, "Well, you were a prospect then, you are a customer now." And that's probably, customers are likely of suspects, prospects, customers are probably the most abused people we have, because once we get them, we kind of forget about them and we go on and keep fishing for new business. So while we're going to focus on generation and nurturing of new business, remember how, keep in the back of your mind how you can use marketing automation to continue to delight your current customers so they don't feel ignored.
Yes, the buyer's journey, that leads in very nicely to this next point. Everybody goes through 3 stages when they're making a purchasing decision, and this could be for a completely new customer. It could be for a current customer that we are upselling or that we're hoping to re-sign. Everybody goes through an awareness stage where they are aware that they have problems, or they're aware that there's an opportunity they need to capitalize on. They have questions. They're trying to research what the answer is. And then they start to understand the bigger picture of what needs to be accomplished. It's called the consideration stage, where they've collected a lot of data, they've got the parameters of what they want to accomplish, the goals in mind, and now they're at the decision-making stage where either they're going to go with choice A, B, or C. And this is where the sales piece really becomes critical. We can automate more of the awareness and consideration stage, but we need to understand that buyer's journey of our prospects and of our customers. We need to understand how they do research and how they make decisions, because all of that lines up with, I'm sure, a very familiar marketing and sales process that you see here below. This is what we label people, right, to put them in categories to help us understand where each of our connections are and how we move them to the next stage. And so suspects are those people that we know that are out there that we're targeting. They don't know us yet, and we don't know them, but we're going to go find them, okay? And then the prospect is the person where we have an idea of who they are, and now we're going to go after them. The lead is some contact typically has been made, or they've expressed some sort of interest. A qualified lead typically is defined as this person actually is the right kind of person to be a customer. Either they have the money, the goals, the time, the right expectations, and opportunities when we're actually formulating the actual ways that we can do business together. And then, of course, the customer is when we are doing business. You need to establish this going backwards. You have to have a defined sales process in order to create effective marketing automation, because if you don't know how you're selling, then you don't know how to set up your marketing. And that's why you work backwards. where you have to start where you want to be and then work outwards, as opposed to starting on the outside edge and then figuring out where you're supposed to go. In the next, here is the sales and marketing systems, or marketing and sales systems that you can, tools that you're going to be using to go through this process, right, to move people through these stages. Typically, we're running ads and optimizing our website for organic traffic to get the suspects, to draw them in. Social media can do that too, advertising on social media. But once someone's become a connection on social media, they're following our page, they're a great example of a prospect. And when they visit our website and convert on a page there, on a landing page, they're a great example of a lead. And through email marketing, we can qualify that lead. We can nurture and qualify them simultaneously, so we can know where to spend our time with them, or where we can just let them have fun, but they're never going to really be the right person to do business. But they can enjoy our content. And then once they're in our CRM, they definitely have to be a viable opportunity expressed either through personal communication, like email, or on a phone call. And then, of course, once they're a customer, they're in our accounting system for billing and so forth. Now, this is just a general way to describe automated or systems that need to be automated for marketing and sales, okay? So I'm not pegging people. Everybody that's a lead has to, you know, already been on social media. You can have an opportunity and they're not your social media friend. That's okay. Eventually they will be, but this is just sort of a flow to keep in mind. We need to design our systems backwards. We're not going to start off with automation for ads and SEO. We're going to start off with what is our accounting system like, and then build from there. Anything to add there, Victor?
No, I think you got it covered there.
Okay, then let's look at some tools.
Okay.
And I said we were starting with accounting, so let's do it.
All right. Well, I'll jump in here with accounting. Real quickly, as a reminder, pull out your spreadsheets, your worksheets now.
Yes.
This is where we're going to start to use this, and you'll see some questions on there regarding your status. Does your accounting system, for example, sync data to your email systems? Yes or no? Do you want to fix that? Yes or no? So there's a bunch of yes/no questions as we move through each of these modules. So make sure you're taking notes as we go through. So let's start with accounting. And as the battle-scarred salesperson here between the two of Marguerite and myself, I can remember the first thing I did was go into our accounting system and find out who were some old customers, hadn't ordered for a while, maybe some prospects we'd done some estimates for, and but never converted. And I started there to try to find some new business. It would have been so nice if I could have just pulled all the contact information, email addresses, phone numbers, addresses, and loaded it into my CRM if they were connected together. But typically what I had to do in the old days, but now that's changing with marketing automation, is I had to rekey all that information again into the database I was using. So the goal of all these components, accounting, CRM, etc., we want to make sure that they integrate with each other, and we want to eliminate as much multiple data entry as possible. We don't want to keep rekeying the same information. So to get started, the base of this needs to be your accounting systems. What can they integrate with? If you're thinking of switching an accounting system or installing a new accounting system, these are some questions to ask. Do they integrate with email marketing like MailChimp or Constant Contact? Do they integrate with a customer resource management program like HubSpot? Those sorts of things. So go back, take a look, and see what you can sync out of your accounting system with the systems you have already, and go from there. And Marguerite's got some thoughts on a couple accounting systems that are out there, and what they can integrate with and what they cannot.
Yes, so cloud-based accounting systems are easier to set up all these integrations. QuickBooks is something that you can do the software or the cloud-based. But using this one as an example, most of your business is going to come, new business is going to always be recorded in your CRM, because if they go through the sales process, they always have to be in the CRM, which can be, if it's like Salesforce, for example, labeled as an opportunity in Salesforce to automatically update QuickBooks as a new customer. And in QuickBooks, you can also set up a bilateral sync with MailChimp for email marketing. And that information will automatically be added to the email list so that they'll be in touch as a customer, right, with all the new customer-based promotions you want to run. So you can see how it's really one key entry. It was in the CRM, and it automatically went to QuickBooks and then went out to the email marketing. Eliminates duplication, errors or mistakes, or even people getting left out. It is not unusual, and maybe this is true for your business, to find that people have separate accounting systems and databases from their email marketing systems from what their salespeople have in their CRM. Let's tie this all together in a real effective manner. Now, this is just the start. Next, we have to talk about your CRM. Now, on here where it says integration, and it's gray, that's because we've already mentioned these two in the prior slide. But I left them up here because when you look at your CRM, you want to be able to integrate all 5 of these components. Okay, we've already described the first 2. Now there's 3 more. Behavioral activity of someone in there from the email marketing. Like you saw in that Salesforce example I gave just a few minutes ago, the behavior of that lead. Which things did they open and click on, and which pages did they visit on my website? You also want your CRM to easily sync up with personal email communication, like you saw with my Gmail, and I could check that box to log that message in the CRM. Additionally, calendar events. A lot of CRMs have calendars, and the reason why is they want to measure how effective the salesperson is with setting phone calls and setting up events like sales meetings. And you need really all of these to sync together. Your personal calendar for the salesperson, the CRM calendar for management of sales, and then the calendar of your prospect that you're talking to. And on top of that, if we're doing online meetings, which is very common today for phone calls, even if they're local, we're still just doing a phone call and we're sharing screens so that they can see the information at the presentation. You want to be able to integrate your online meeting system, if it's Zoom or GoToMeeting, all within a click. And this is all possible, but you want to think about this ahead of time and making sure that we're choosing the right CRM that's going to support this. How well does it integrate with our email systems in-house? And one other quick note with social media, that's becoming more of an add-on that you can put in your CRM to monitor social media behavioral activity. So if you want to see what they're doing on Twitter or LinkedIn, and it's all right there in that contact profile, their latest status updates and shares and likes and so forth. So these are things to look for, and then these are the systems, just a number of them, of a few of the many, I should say, that are out there. Hatchbuck is special, and I know Victor could speak to that, because that's what they use.
Yeah, we use Hatchbuck here and really like it. It allows us to track all the emails that we've sent out, set up tasks, campaigns, reminders, callbacks, those sorts of things. And we've even got it set up where if somebody visits our website, we will get a note of when they visited, what they looked at, so we can begin to kind of get an idea before we reach back out to them what their interest has been. And the cool thing about it is they begin to sort of self-qualify. If we notice somebody we've been in contact with keeps going back to our web page and keeps taking a look at how we design websites, we can kind of deduce pretty quickly that they've got an interest in a website and they may be considering working on a website of their own or updating their current website. And of course, a human being will call and follow back up with them on that. So the CRM is really the if accounting is the brain, CRM is the heartbeat of your marketing automation system here.
Oh, that's a great analogy. So Hatchbuck's a little different, how it combines the CRM with email marketing. It's a CRM first, but it's got a very robust email marketing system with it, so it puts the two together. Another example of a kind of dual-purpose system is Nimble, and this is a CRM first, but it's designed for social media prospecting, and so you can establish streams to monitor and engage people that are you're prospecting through sales. and track them through your funnel, your sales funnel. Now, some other systems like Nutshell and Sugar are pretty popular for smaller businesses, and these are also cloud-based systems that you can check out. Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics are very well known, and they can work for small businesses, but really they're better for enterprise companies and mid-sized companies. These help you manage sales and sales teams, as opposed to Nutshell's really designed more for very small sales teams like 2 or 3 people or just one person. And some killer support tools to keep in mind. Sidekick is one of them. I could not live without it anymore. And it's only $10 a month. Sidekick tells me whenever anybody opens an email that I have sent to them. So it's not like the Outlook, you know, check the box to let the person know that it opened thing. It doesn't do that. It's all very, it's only on my side. Only I know what's happening. But I am notified instantly in the corner of my computer when someone opens an email that I sent to them. So I can time my response to that or phone call to that, or it's just good to know it didn't go to a black hole. That's probably the biggest one. So always take a look at the apps that are available with your CRM. Often they have many different things you can add on to customize that tool just for your business. And Google Alerts is another way, automation-wise for data, that can keep you updated with things that are happening in your targeted industries or with your targeted companies. Either they could be current customers or prospective companies. But today in sales, no one wants, this is a sales expectation of people that want to buy. They don't want to be contacted until they really have some valid questions they can't answer online, and that's going to usually be some very specific things, and they're going to be ready to make a decision at that point. They don't want to talk to you unless they're ready to do business, and which is great, right? We as salespeople don't really want to talk to them unless they're ready to do business in some respects. So Google Alerts is a way to get real-time data about a company and send a very timely, thoughtful, relevant email message that is much more likely to get a response than if we just did a, hey, checking in, or what do you think, you know, sales pitch message. So the CRM and the accounting system. Now let's talk about email marketing. Automation in email marketing, this is where a lot of people think of automation. Drip emails are something very common. People know about how you can set up like 10 email messages. Someone signs up to a list and one drips out, you know, every 3 days or every 4 days to that person, and it sort of nurtures that relationship. Now, that's a little different from autoresponders, so they can tie together, because autoresponders is if someone takes an action on a website, typically like filling out a form, they're going to automatically get an email that follows up. Now, it could be an autoresponder drip email campaign. Okay, so those two things can go together. But more sophisticated systems in email marketing do something called workflows. Now, there's different terms for different systems, but this is one that I like to use. Because workflows are more about not just dripping something out every 3 or 4 days apart, but it sets up, you can set up triggers in there to say, if this, then that. If this happens, then do that. If this doesn't happen, then do this. And it may not be just sending out an email. It might be sending a notification to a salesperson to take action on something. Or it might be to put that person in a different workflow because they've got a different interest on a different piece of content. So now they're getting 2 different marketing campaigns based on the 2 different interests that they've shown. And the way these email marketing systems typically work to help you sort and put people in the right bucket is either through smart lists or tagging. And sometimes some systems include both. Some of them just do one. They both work just as well. Smart list being something more like I'm going to create a list and then the criteria of who falls into this list. And whenever someone meets that criteria, such as they filled out this form, they opened up this email, or they've been designated as this type of working in this industry, they immediately fall in that bucket, and now I can always email to that smart list the messages that I know are going to be relevant to that person. Whereas tagging is a little different, and that's what Victor does in Hatchback. Maybe you could explain that better.
Yeah, what we do when we tag customers, you know, there's things you can do. We can sort by previous customer, current customer, you know, those sorts of things. But we can go back and search by tags. If we know somebody has visited our website maybe like 10 times, we've got a tag called level of interest. that we can go and send an email out to everybody that's visited our website 10 times, because likely they have a real interest in the products and services we're offering. Or we can search on a tag of folks maybe that have clicked on the print services that we offer a couple times. Clearly they have more defined themselves as a customer interested in printing. So, and we can maybe go back and send a special offer or send out an ebook related specifically to printing based on those tags that we search. And tags are kind of like a relational database. It's virtually unlimited, the number of tags you want to create. It's how many can you keep up with. And then you can go in within Hatchbuck, and we can even sort additional tags, sort of in an and or Boolean factoring. Is that the right word? When you do an and or
Boolean, yeah.
Boolean, there we go. Gosh, when you search through. So tags in your CRM are pretty important and pretty cool to use, the way you can create a custom email list to send messages out to your clients.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can do tagging in CRMs, email marketing systems. You can do tagging in LinkedIn if you've never even looked at that, your contacts. That's a great way to put your contacts there.
Yeah.
So you can see now with integration, though, for your email marketing, we already know our CRM and accounting, but also keep in mind your email marketing system should integrate with your website through sign-up forms, because people need to subscribe to your email. They should subscribe to your blog. We also want to be able to track visitor activity from email campaigns. So there's some tools that you can integrate into your email marketing system that will help you with that data. When you do an email blast, how many of those people come to your website and what are they doing on there? It's not that they just click a link, but what is the actual activity that they are now acting upon in the website. Social media, too, can be integrated with your email marketing. Make sure you have good sharing buttons on your messages that blast out. Put in the right URL code so that when people click to share that on their social media, they're not sharing their email message, they're sharing the campaign offer that you have on a landing page. And then, of course, in some social media like Facebook, you can put in sign-up forms. Now, we all are pretty familiar with Constant Contact, MailChimp, iContact. These are pretty low cost. They pay a little bit more if you want more automation. MailChimp is my favorite. They seem to integrate well with everything. Constant Contact, fewer integration possibilities, but they have some really robust tools that if you use all their different tools and you don't mind paying for all their different tools, it's worth it. And GetResponse is a really good low-cost, all-in-one system for email marketing and landing pages and a little bit of a CRM. It's very low cost but not highly sophisticated either, but it's better than nothing, so this is good for solopreneurs. I highly recommend that. Now, talking about your website, what can you automate there? Not a whole lot. Most of your website work has to be manual, but the RSS feeds you can capitalize on. You want to connect that to your email marketing system so that every time you publish a blog post, everybody that subscribes to your blog will automatically get that email message, hey, there's a new blog post. You can even set it up so that you've got feeds for social media, to publish to social media. So you publish a blog post and it publishes it on Twitter, publishes it on Facebook for you automatically. Now, when it comes to integration, we've already talked about the email marketing piece, but you can also get certain systems where you can get behavioral intelligence on leads that are visiting your website, and it shows up in your CRM. Which pages did they visit? How long did they stay on a page? Really important things to know for a salesperson if they want to have an easy, relevant conversation with a prospect. And also, don't forget, you need to have sharing buttons on your website so that people can share it to their favorite social media. And there's also a lot of advertising and SEO that we do to drive traffic to our website. What is their behavior with that traffic that we're sending there? So tools or systems like Unbounce and Lead Pages are landing page tools designed to help you better track their performance of conversion when people visit the page, if they actually sign up or not. And they also make it easy to create landing page after landing page with all different content offers for all your different campaigns. You can specialize it. Maybe you have one content offer, but you have 5 different campaigns because you customized it per the folks that you're driving to that landing page via your email. Now, VisitIQ is a really great tool that you can integrate with your website and with your email to do that tracking that I mentioned. for their behavior on your website after they click on a link in your email. So this is a really good tool if you like to buy third-party advertising via email. So, for example, there's an ad channel that does email blasts, and you can buy ad space on that email blast, or they'll even send out a whole email just for your company to promote your company's product to their list. You want to use VisitIQ because you don't ever own those leads. They own them, but if they come back to you, or you don't own those contacts, but if they come to your website and convert, now they are your lead, and you want to know who these people are coming to your website. Crazy Egg is a really great system for understanding behaviors such as clicking and where people are viewing on your website. It's a heat map tool. In Google Analytics, everybody typically uses that. It's helpful for global information for overall traffic patterns and behaviors. Doesn't give you detailed individual information, so it's not lead intelligence, but it lets you know your overall behaviors of your website or how people are behaving. Now, social media, this is where we can integrate, or excuse me, automate a whole lot. Social media, though, is social, so it is not set it and forget it. You still have to be personable, but there's so much going on in social media that if you can automate some of your sharing and then also automate notification of when someone needs to be engaged with because they've showed an interest, you can do that. And some very simple tools to schedule posts and set up an RSS feed for sharing content would be your systems like Hootsuite and Social Sprout and Buffer. Now, when I talk about content curation, what I'm talking about is third-party content. So these are other blogs and websites that are publishing information that you like to share on your LinkedIn profile or in your Twitter feed. Because you're sharing your own stuff, but you share other people's stuff too. That's how you create a social environment. Well, if you set up your RSS feeds for these favorite blogs that you follow through your Hootsuite or Social Sprout or Buffer, it'll share it for you automatically. Now, some other higher-level tools or automation would be to monitor and engage. You can set up through Hootsuite and through other tools like HubSpot that I use, streams so that you can quickly see conversations based on this particular hashtag or conversations that just my customers are having. And through HubSpot, for example, I can set it up that it will email me instantly when a customer says something about this particular keyword because I want to know, because I want to jump in and be involved in that conversation. So that's an example of engagement through notification. Other tools automate following and unfollowing, particularly with Twitter, Tweet Adder. I know Victor can speak to that. And then, of course, these tools also help us with performance reporting and understanding our influence in the social media sphere. You get performance data with each social media. You can go into Facebook and look at the analytics and LinkedIn and look at the analytics. But when you use social media management systems, they create much more comprehensive information because we're looking at it overall of our social media at once, not just one platform at a time. So I know you can speak to Tweet Adder. Tell us about that, Victor.
I have to say I'm a big fan of Tweet Adder. I think my clients and a lot of my friends, the one thing they say is they complain that keeping up with social media takes too much time. Social media is a waste of my effort. Using something like Tweet Adder or Hootsuite is awesome. Tweet Adder automatically posts tweets for us, so we can queue up a series of tweets. We can schedule what time of day, the frequency that it goes out. We can even set up to retweet some people we're following and want to retweet their tweets. Hootsuite does the same. So these systems here answer the question as to why does this take so much time. It really doesn't. If you set it up once, you need to monitor it, go back with it. You can't ignore it, but set it up once, and then Tweet Adder, which is just awesome, just puts tweets out for us, and it's really I've found the light with Tweet Adder because using that with Twitter has really helped us drive some new business.
That's great. Well, Feedly on here, that is a RSS feed aggregator. So I mentioned earlier about all these different blogs that you like to follow. Why don't you do that through Feedly, and then use that one feed through Feedly to go through your Hootsuite account or through your Buffer account. systems like Crowd Booster and Shaka are really great systems to let you know about your influence and also understand where you can capitalize on getting more exposure. So Crowd Booster will notify you, hey, you need to retweet this person, you need to follow this person because of their level of influence and their reach in the Twitter sphere. For example, Boost Shaka is really focused on helping boost business or exposure with clients, with your client base. So not all systems for social media are for B2B, so keep that in mind. Some of them are really pushing e-commerce, so you want to define the two and see what makes sense for your company. But ultimately, when it comes to anything with traffic generation for your social media and for your website, if it's paid ads, if it's organic, you really want to be able to track source to sale, which is covered by the little app we're supposed to say, tracking from source to sale. Because if your automation marketing and reporting doesn't tell you where you're getting your business from, then it's a huge point of failure, because you want to know, do you want to spend ad money in LinkedIn, or do you really need to spend more time blogging and getting more organic traffic? So if you can track the trends of how many leads and how many sales I'm getting from all of these different sources of traffic, then you are headed the right direction to success in the long term. Now, you're probably thinking, this is crazy. There's so much to integrate here. CRM, website, lead intelligence, email marketing, social media. You know, it's like you think you're going to go crazy, and then bilateral, unilateral, and then, you know, just how can I make it work? And you know what? There is no perfect system out there. When you're trying to get 10 things to work together, it's going to be gaps. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to find that there's key pieces where you know you really need to fix that is critical to your process. And if you don't have a really good solution, like you can't switch from one system to another, you have to stick with your accounting system, you have to stick with your CRM. Zapier is a third-party app that's worth checking out. They might have the solution for you. All Zapier does is become that go-between solution between two different cloud systems that are not currently working together as an integrated piece between the two. So I'm not going to expand on that much anymore, but I'm just saying, go look at Zapier. You'll be impressed by what they're capable of. Now, there is another option, though, besides all of this craziness, and this is our second to last slide here. There are all-in-one marketing systems that you can invest in, and you're going to know that this is important to you when you realize that you need to really take your marketing to a different level. Those companies, once they reach about $1 million in revenue and size, they realize that they need to do something more than all of these different pieces about marketing automation. They need to really put some things into one place, because when you're working with a tool like HubSpot or Marketo or Pardot or Entry, all of that data is so much more relevant because you can relate it to each other. HubSpot tells you source to sale within 2 clicks of a mouse. I can look and immediately see over any span of time exactly the performance of my marketing from customer to prospect. And expect to spend, at minimum, $300 a month for a system. And they on average, start at $600 to $1,000 a month. And expect a commitment to it, because they know that these are things you can't just jump into. They provide a lot of training, and it takes a little while to get the system going. But once it's going, you have a machine. Now, I like HubSpot. I talked about it a lot because I'm a user of HubSpot and I am a partner. And I like them most out of all these other systems because they have fabulous customer service, and they have really good price points to work within, and they have really good integration with other systems. So I use the HubSpot marketing tool. Their CRM integrates very cleanly with my Google Calendar and Gmail, and not quite with my accounting system. That's the only thing I have to fix. But for me, that's not as big a thing because I don't have a lot of transactions that I have to move on a regular basis into accounting. For other companies, if you have smaller, multiple transactions that happen more frequently, that would be a bigger deal. So that's where you can go. And it's all that. If you marked up your worksheet there and you didn't like what you saw, maybe that's what you need to check out. We do have some resources for you. Go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, you want me to talk about mine first?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'll talk about mine. You can talk about yours. There's 2 great resources here. Marguerite has one there called The 6 Marketing Metrics Your Boss Actually Cares About. Great material. I'll let her explain it to you a little bit more. We have a free ebook called Managing Your Inbound and Outbound Marketing Strategies and Insights for the marketer who has to do it all. So we wrote this ebook for the person who has 101 things to do during the day but only can get the first 90. One of them is marketing, and the boss said, here, you're our marketer, and you really don't know what to do. This ebook is for you. And so we cover everything from outbound marketing like direct mail and flyers, brochures, rack cards, those sorts of things, to managing your inbound marketing, emails, websites, those sort of things, touching a little bit on the marketing automation we talked about today. So if you are that person who has lots of things to do and just don't have the time to do it all, and the boss throws you're the marketer on you, I encourage you to download this book and take a look at it.
And available from RelaunchYou is the marketing metrics your boss actually cares about. So if you are the boss, you're going to care. And if you're not the boss, but he's your guy right above you, you know, this is how you can look sharp. So it's just basic marketing numbers, a language that you need to speak, such as cost of client acquisition. How do you actually do the math to get that? What is the ratios that I need for lifetime value of a customer versus how long it takes for me to get my return on investment? So look for an email. We're going to send out copies of this slideshow, links to these ebooks that you can download whenever you'd like, and also a copy of this recording that we did today. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending, and we look forward to connecting with you again shortly.
Okay, great. Thanks, Marguerite. Bye-bye.